If you followed my work for any length of time, you've probably already heard me say that manifesting is both a science and an art. In my previous video, I covered the science aspect of manifesting. And in this video, we'll cover the art aspect of manifesting. And before we begin, I want to make sure that you have already watched the previous video on the science of manifesting, because the art aspect is based on that foundation. Without a proper understanding of the science of manifesting, a lot of the art aspect can be a little confusing, because that is why I call it the art aspect. There is so much flexibility involved here. How you go about manifesting your desires is completely up to you, as long as you incorporate those three factors that we talked about in the science video. The most important factor, of course, is faith. As long as you can believe that what you want to manifest will in fact manifest, the process you use to get there can be anything you want. As I mentioned in that science video as well, when we want to shift our faith, the best tools to use are focus and feeling. And in this video, I'll give you some examples of processes that you can use to manifest your desires into physical reality. So, just to lay the foundation, as I just mentioned, the process can be pretty much anything you want it to be. There are so many different processes being taught online that you can look up any of the different manifesting processes, find one that you like, and as long as it follows the three main principles that we talked about in the Science of Manifesting video, you're good to go. You can use that process however you want to. I generally teach two main processes for manifesting your visions into reality. We already talked about one of these processes in this video series. The idea that you can just simply decide what you want and trust that it will happen. It's the simplest process possible. Just simply decide what you want, trust that it will happen. We all like to have a name for the different processes we use, so I've called this harmonic intent. And the reason why I call it harmonic intent is because when you bring together the factors of faith, focus, and feeling into one moment in time, each of these different factors harmonize with each other. And as long as they're all focused on a positive vision and expectation that what you want will actually happen, they do act in harmony with each other, and you're setting an intention. So that's my label for that very simple process, harmonic intent. Decide what you want, trust that it's going to happen. Now, for most people, they need something a little bit more than that, because even though that may be the simplest form of manifesting, it's not the easiest to do. Most of us need a little bit more to wrap our heads around, a little bit more to sink our teeth into, a little bit more to move us in the direction that we need to go. And so the easiest form of manifesting that I teach is something I call harmonic prayer. Again, the idea of harmonics. When we have multiple elements working together in harmony with each other, the power that they create is so much greater than any one of the factors could do on their own. So that's why I use the word harmonic with the names that I use. So in this harmonic prayer process, it can be described as three simple steps, or if we want to be a little bit more detailed about it, we can describe it as 5 steps. I'm going to describe the 5-step version because it is more detailed, it's easier to understand, and it incorporates a couple of extra steps that do help make the process more effective. So the first step in the harmonic prayer process is to just simply relax. And the reason why we want to relax as much as we possibly can is to focus our minds. Because if you're not relaxed and you're doing all sorts of different things and you're in the middle of juggling 5 different activities, you're not focused. In order to focus, you want to bring all of your awareness into one moment in time. This moment now is the only moment that matters, at least for the next few minutes. Okay? So you want to relax. You want to eliminate any focus on your body. You want to just kind of let all the muscles go, drop any weights, concerns, frustrations, whatever, disappointments. You want to drop everything and let your mind clear. And a clear mind is a focused mind. And so the first step in the harmonic prayer process is to relax as completely as you possibly can. There are some other details that go along with that, but they're not important right now. I want to give you the basics. So once we are relaxed, the next step, which is one of the 2 extra steps in this 5-step version, is to mentally indulge in something enjoyable. Remember a vacation where you had a wonderful time. Imagine that you are doing some activity that you truly enjoy, and then focus on the enjoyment that you get from that activity. Maybe it's sitting by the fire in the middle of winter. Maybe it's sitting out in the sun on the beach. Maybe it's getting a nice relaxing massage and someone is just working all those muscles just perfectly. Maybe it's holding a loved one. Whatever gives you pleasure, focus on that. There's a lot of suggestions online that the emotions of love, joy, and gratitude make manifesting work better, and I do agree with that. But it's not limited to just those emotions. Anything that makes you feel good can open your mind in a way that will allow you to connect with that aspect of yourself that is instrumental in making the manifestation happen, that deeper aspect of who you are. So the first step in the harmonic prayer process is to relax completely. The second step is to engage in a mental indulgence, something that feels incredibly good, and just focus on that positive feeling. That sets a good stage for what's to come. Now, the third step in this 5-step version, which would be the second step in the 3-step version, I'm not trying to confuse you, I promise, but in this third step of the 5-step version of harmonic prayer, you want to imagine and engage in a mental experience that represents the outcome that you would like to manifest. If you want to receive money, as an example, then imagine that you have received the money that you are asking for. If you want a raise at your job, imagine that you have just received a paycheck that is larger than your normal paycheck. If you would like to manifest a new relationship, then imagine yourself with this new person. If you want to manifest greater health, more physical energy, a slimmer body, whatever it is that you would like to imagine, then put yourself into a situation where you are doing something that represents and signifies the outcome you would like. Again, if you would like to have a slimmer body, then imagine that you're standing in front of a mirror and you're looking at yourself and what you see pleases you. It's like, yeah, I did it. It actually happened. And obviously, in this imagination step, in this phase where you are daydreaming about the outcome you would like to manifest, You want to include as many of the senses as you possibly can. You want to see images as clearly as you can. You want to hear any sounds that would be in that environment. You want to feel the things that you would be touching in that experience. If smells or taste would be involved, then imagine those as well. And also, as important, if not more important, would be the emotions that you would feel in that experience. If we go back to the example that I talked about in a previous video, where I discovered the power of manifesting in that bookstore, as I stood there in the bookstore and I was imagining the thing that I would like to have, which at that time was money, I felt the money in my hands. I felt a sense of power flowing through me, creating that money. I felt a sense of joy and relief and gratitude within me. I felt all of these things, and that was what I focused on for those few seconds. Really, it was less than a minute. So this process doesn't have to go on forever, but it doesn't have to be short either. Feel free to spend as much time imagining the outcome that you would like until it feels solid and real to you. Going back to another example that I talked about in a previous video, when I manifested the relationship I now have with my wife, I spent a good half hour in that process. So it doesn't have to be short. It doesn't have to be long. It just has to be long enough until you are completely satisfied that what you have done has worked. So you go through that process until you get a feeling that, yes, this is good. This definitely feels like a real experience. And then to really add to it, you want to anchor it in. Now, again, in that last video on the science of manifesting, I talked about a process called faith anchoring. And that's exactly what you want to do in this harmonic prayer process. You want to bring up a feeling of absolute truth, absolute reality, absolute confidence. You want to bring up that feeling and create a connection between this feeling of faith and confidence and the feeling of reality of what you just visualized, the outcome you would like to manifest, and bring those two things together within yourself. You want to be imagining what you want to manifest with a feeling of absolute faith and confidence that it will, in fact, manifest. There are a lot of different ways of doing that. And it is perfectly okay to trust your subconscious mind to make it happen in the most appropriate way for you at this time. Just a little bonus there. So in this harmonic prayer process that I've been describing, the first step was to relax. Second step, indulge in a mental, enjoyable activity. Get a positive feeling within yourself to set the stage. And then imagine what you would like to manifest in as much detail as you possibly can with all possible senses, including emotions. And then anchor that into your mind with the feelings and ideas of absolute truth, absolute reality, absolute confidence. Bring all of those things together within your mind. And then the fifth step in this 5-step version is to set the visualization aside. You don't have to keep focusing on it. And then go about your normal life looking for the outcome, looking for the result. And here, I want to be very, very clear about how you want to be looking for that result. You don't want to be looking around and say, okay, it's not here yet. It didn't work. You don't want to be doing that. You want to be looking for it with the attitude, with the belief that, yes, it is going to work. I don't know when, I don't know where, but it's going to happen, and I'm ready for it. again, going back to the example of when I manifested the relationship, I did basically a harmonic prayer process in the evenings. And then during the day, everywhere I went, I'm looking around. It's like, well, she could be there. She could be there. I could meet her if I'm doing this, and just go about the normal day. But looking for it, it's like it's going to happen, and I'm sure it's going to happen soon, and I'm ready for it, and I'm looking for it. That's the way that you want to be looking for your manifestation. Trust that it's going to happen. Anticipate it. In fact, anticipation is a good emotion. Anticipation is different from wanting, which you will hear some people talk about the dangers of being in a state of want, because want means you don't yet have. But anticipation is different. Anticipation recognizes that, okay, maybe I don't have it now, but I'm going to have it pretty soon. And that is an emotion that can and does often work. You don't have to believe that I have it now, because as you're going through your normal life, it's going to be obvious whether or not you have it now. And if your subconscious mind gets the feeling that you're lying to yourself, it doesn't really work so well. But what I do want to say is that during the harmonic prayer process, in that third step, when you are imagining the end result that you would like to manifest, in that moment, you are experiencing it now. And you can always tell yourself, I am visualizing a future time in which this has already happened. And yes, in this future time, I do have it now. See, here's something that a lot of people don't acknowledge in the world of manifesting. There are so many subtleties involved. And that, again, is part of the art aspect of manifesting. There are a lot of subtleties. Slight differences can make a big difference. I mean, in the world of photography, something that I know very well, placing your subject in the center of the frame gives you one type of feeling. Placing the subject of your focus just slightly off center, and especially if it's a portrait, if you put the person slightly off center, but turn so that they're facing towards the center of the picture, it creates a very different dynamic in that portrait. And here again, it's like, okay, I'm standing right in front of the camera. My body is slightly turned a little bit to one side. That is a common thing in professional photography. Most amateurs, they'll have the subject facing straight at the camera. And it looks a little differently this way. However, if you have your subject turned just a little bit different, very small change makes a noticeable, even if it's a subconsciously noticeable difference. There's a different feeling with slight changes. And so in the manifesting process, sometimes these slight differences have a big impact on how well the process works for you. Now, just to kind of go back and review one basic point, as long as your process of manifesting helps you believe and have faith that what you want to manifest will in fact manifest, that's the only thing that is truly, absolutely important. Everything else is there simply to help you get to that point. So if you can simply decide that this is what I want and I'm going to have it, and trust that it will happen and have that faith that it's going to happen, that's all you need. And if you need something more, you can just add in little things here and there that help you feel that sense of confidence and faith that is going to work. And then here is where we get into again, another whole aspect, another whole realm of the art of manifesting. Because these basic processes that I've just described to you, that's all they are, just basic processes. They're very simple processes that go directly to the outcome that we want. The harmonic prayer process was created based off of a process of self-hypnosis. That's where I got the ideas for a lot of that process, self-hypnosis, because that is essentially what we are doing in our manifesting process. We are hypnotizing ourselves to believe that what we want will actually happen. And it's amazing how often when we do that, that we actually do get the results we want. Again, going back to the previous videos in the series, if you haven't yet watched them, I highly recommend that you do, because every video in this series was there for a reason. And it's to help you find the faith, the necessary information that will help you achieve your goals through the processes of manifesting. So, just to end this video with what could be the most fun aspect of manifesting ever, and that is the idea that you can create your own process. You don't have to be limited to what I'm giving you. You don't have to be limited to what you find online. Every process of manifesting that you will ever find started out as somebody's brand new creation. I mean, the idea of chanting mantras and almost singing the words that relate to what you want to manifest. Somebody created that idea, and it was most likely someone who loved to sing. The idea of doing ceremonial dances. I mean, we've heard about Native Americans having a different dance for this or a different dance for that to honor the spirits of their forefathers and ancestors, or to ask the spirits to bring rain or plentiful harvest or whatever else. That type of process was created by people who love to dance. So you can take whatever thing that you like to do and use it as a form of manifesting. Another example, I remember reading back in the early days of the New Thought movement that people would actually argue the case like a lawyer in front of a jury, argue the case about why the thing that they want to manifest is the only thing that could possibly happen. I mean, they'll go into, well, God creates a perfect world and there's only perfection. Any illusion or illusion of imperfection, it doesn't truly exist. It's just a mirage. It doesn't exist. It can't possibly exist. It's only appearing because I've focused my mind on that. As soon as I focus my mind on the truth with a capital T, that there's only perfection, there's only perfect health, there's only harmony and love in the world. As I focus my mind on what is true, anything that is not completely true, that may be a current fact of reality, but not a truth with capital T, all of that other stuff would just fade away. And I remember reading about how they would reason all this out. And like I said, it sounds like a lawyer in front of a jury arguing a case. Okay, fine. That can be a perfectly valid form of manifesting, as long as it helps you reach a point of conviction, confidence, faith, true belief that what you want to experience will in fact occur. So, yeah, whatever that you like to do, there's a way to use that to manifest your visions into reality. You just have to be a little bit creative. Know that faith is the most important thing that you absolutely must create through whatever process you want to use. And also acknowledge that the easiest way to shift to faith is to focus your mind 100% on the thing that you would like and bring in the feelings that would be present once the manifestation happens. The feelings of sensation as well as the feelings of emotion. Play with the ideas that I've given you in this video. I truly hope that you have fun with it. And I am interested to hear some of the new creations that you might create to help both yourself and others manifest more of what you want and what they want into our shared physical reality. So in the next video, I'm going to talk about how you can start getting consistently reliable results you can be proud of every single time. Because what I've shared with you up to this point will help you get at least a result one time. And you can duplicate that over and over again. But there are things that you can do to make it much more consistent and less dependent on the energy and the focus that you bring into just one specific manifestation effort. So, until next time, be blessed, my friend.